guys, welcome back to CJ's Keto Kitchen. Tonight we are going to be making a lovely and delicious soup that is very easy. It is Italian sausage soup. So come along with me and let's get started. We don't get a lot of snow here in the Pacific Northwest, but when we do, it's generally in February, and we are right in the middle of our first winter storm. And so I was hoping to make something that would be warm and comforting, and so I decided to make this Italian sausage soup. Now this is loosely based on the Olive Garden Zuppa Toscana, which is one of their very famous soups. And if you don't know, the Olive Garden is an American Italian restaurant, so of course the recipes aren't authentic, but it is extremely popular, and I have of course made it ketogenic. It's very easy and it doesn't have very many ingredients. So let's go ahead and get started. So in my Dutch oven, I have already begun browning my Italian sausage, and I happen to be using the hot sausage. You could use just regular or even sweet Italian sausage if you preferred, or just plain sausage, but I really like the flavor that this has, and it's not super hot. It is more flavorful. It has a lot of paprika in it. So it's 1 pound, and I have already started browning mine in my Dutch oven. You're going to need some kind of pot or Dutch oven, something large enough to make soup in. Okay, to our browning meat, I'm going to add 1/4 of a chopped onion. This is just a regular white onion. And I want to add it into my meat juices. And we're just going to let this cook for a few minutes until the onion gets a little bit soft. I'm also going to put in my fresh garlic at this point. This is 3 cloves of crushed fresh garlic. We are going to start adding our Italian seasonings to this since it is an Italian sausage soup. So here I have a little bit of my favorite Johnny's garlic spread, which is Italian seasoning and just a bit of Parmesan cheese. I'm just going to sprinkle that in. And I have about a tablespoon of that. I also have 2 teaspoons of just oregano. I wish you had smell-o-vision because it's quite tasty smelling. So my next ingredient is going to be basil. I could not find fresh basil at my grocery store this time, so I'm going to be using a product in a tube. And all this is unrefined olive oil and basil, and they have just put it in a refrigerated tube. So I'm just going to use about a teaspoon of that, and that is basically a squirt is what they're saying on the back. And I'm just going to incorporate that. The last spice that I'm going to add is just a tiny bit of crushed red pepper. It's going to be mainly myself and CJ eating this soup, and we do like things a bit spicy, so I'm just going to do a shake of this, so not much. And of course, you know, do spices and seasonings to your own personal taste. So the next thing that I'm going to put in is chicken broth, chicken stock, whatever you have on hand. You could use bone broth here if you have it or if you enjoy it. This is 4 cups. I have taken out 1 cup, so this is 3 cups, and I will explain why. But for right now, the 3 cups are going to go into our stock pot. So before I put a lid on this and move on to our next step, I'm going to add 1 diced zucchini. So I have just taken 1 small zucchini, and I have cut it and cored it, meaning I took the seeds out, so you just take a spoon and scrape it down your zucchini on the inside. And then I just cut it into little pieces. Traditionally at the Olive Garden, the Zuppa Toscana is served with potatoes, and of course potatoes are not ketogenic, but I wanted something that would mimic the heartiness of that in a vegetable form, and so I decided to use zucchini. You could use cauliflower if you wanted. That would also be very nice here. So I'm going to put this in, and then I'm going to put a lid on my stock pot and let it simmer while we move on to our next step. So this soup is a cream-based soup, so we want something that is going to give us that creaminess. You could use heavy cream in this step, but I find that I really enjoy the richness that cream cheese provides. So I'm going to be using cream cheese, but sometimes it can be difficult to incorporate cream cheese into liquids. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to put my cream cheese in my blender, and I'm going to combine it with the other cup of chicken stock that we reserved from our original container. So this is 8 ounces of Philadelphia cream cheese, and it is soft. It is room temperature. So that just gave us a nice bit of slurry here to then put into our soup, and it's already combined, so you don't have to worry about little pieces of cream cheese. So we have 2 final ingredients to add into our soup before I go ahead and let it simmer for about 20 minutes or so. So the first ingredient is 14 ounces of diced tomatoes, and I'm using fire roasted here because they're my favorite. Fire roasted does not mean that they're hot. It simply means that the skin on the outside of the tomato was roasted over a fire, so it just gives it a nice, rich, smoky flavor, but it does not create any heat. So my final ingredient that's going to go into our Italian sausage soup is 2 cups of fresh spinach. You could use kale if you prefer. I know that kale is sometimes traditional in this type of soup. I just found that spinach was a little bit lower in overall carbs, but definitely choose whatever vegetable you prefer or that you need to use up. So I'm putting that in. And I'm just going to give it a stir. Now I'm just going to put a lid on it, and I'm going to let it simmer for about 20 minutes or so, and so all of our flavors have a chance to combine and the richness can get stronger. This would be a lovely dish in a slow cooker or an Instapot if you have either one of those as well, and you would just follow the directions for soup making for each of those things. So I'm going to be topping our Italian sausage soup with a little bit of shredded Parmesan cheese. That's what would transpire if you were to go to the Olive Garden and have their soup. They come out with their little grater and ask you if you want cheese. So I'm going to top ours with this, and then we're going to let CJ have a taste, and he will tell us what he thinks. Okay, here's tonight's fabulous dinner. We are having Italian sausage soup, and it's got some Parmesan cheese sprinkled on it. Hi, CJ.
Hi.
It's very cold outside, and I think the snow is starting to stick.
Yeah, it is.
Yes, so have some warm soup and tell me what you think.
All right. And what's this called?
It is Italian sausage soup.
Okay.
The Olive Garden calls it Zuppa Toscana, even though it's not at all Tuscan.
It's good. Got some spice to it. That's our version.
Yes.
For us. Really flavorful. The, what's it called? Spicy Italian sausage is nice. Nice touch. And the zucchini held up a little bit. Better than I thought. It's not like super crunchy, but it's not mushy either.
Some texture.
Yeah, there's some texture. Good. So,
Good.
When you said zucchini, I was wondering, I wonder how squash would work. So, just a thought.
Yeah.
But it's really flavorful.
Good.
And it smelled real good while we were waiting the 20 minutes in between.
Yeah, you could smell it through the house.
Yeah, it smelled real good. So I think people will like it. Again, it took us longer to film all this than it did for you to actually make this.
Right.
This would be made pretty...
Yes.
This could be made pretty quickly.
For sure.
So, I think people will like it. I hope people enjoy it. Thanks for your hard work. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thanks for joining us again tonight, you guys. We hope that you enjoy the soup. I know that we are definitely looking forward to eating it. We hope that you will consider subscribing and hitting the notification bell so that you know when we upload new content. We have Keto Conversations on Wednesdays, and that's where we get together and talk about different ketogenic topics. Sometimes we're doing food unboxings or brand tastings. Sometimes it's grocery hauls, what we eat, and sometimes it's just a general keto conversation. So definitely join us then. Our recipes go up on Sunday, and sometimes they're a sweet recipe and sometimes they are savory like tonight's. We are also on social media. We are on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and Pinterest, and we're doing a little bit of TikTok, and that is all CJ's Keto Kitchen. If you need any information for this particular recipe or other recipes that we have already completed, those are always on our blog at cjsketokitchen.com. And there you will find all the recipes, the macros, the ingredients. Most of our recipes are printable. Also, tips and tricks that I learned while making this recipe and CJ's taste test follow-up. So definitely check us out there. We hope that you'll come back and join us again for another fabulous recipe. And until that time, be safe and be well.